Welcome to our web exclusive. I'm Mike Montecalvo, along with Eyewitness News analyst Lieutenant General Reginald Centracchio. We'll get to Egypt, General, in just a couple of minutes. Let's talk about the war in Afghanistan. We're hearing there's a lot of friction between President Obama and President Karzai from Afghanistan. Combat forces supposed to be out in 2014. Now we're hearing about a zero-option policy, which would mean everyone would come out. Why is there friction between these two guys?
I think it has much to do with the strategy for those forces that would have been left there after the 2014 combat pullout. And I think a lot has to do with the involvement of the Taliban also. So I think it has much to do with one being the president and the other one being the president of Afghanistan as to what they think U.S. forces should be and how they would be used. So therein, I think, lies the problem.
Now, you talked about the Taliban. The U.S. has tried to start peace talks with the Taliban. President Karzai does not like that. Why?
You know, I don't know why he's doing this because regardless of what happens, the Taliban will be part of that government, regardless of whether the U.S. is there or not. And he needs to understand this. I think he's once again playing both sides, trying to keep the people who don't want the Taliban there and trying to keep the Taliban engaged at the same time. And he's playing a dangerous game because he'll end up with just the Taliban.
Well, on the surface, it would look like, by just watching this dispute, that he wants the U.S. out altogether. But that's not necessarily the case. He wants some troops to stay there.
Exactly. You're right. He wants combat troops out. He doesn't want to see any combat involvement with the U.S., but he wants them there as a security blanket, more or less. But therein lies the problem. How would they be used, and who would have control over them? What would be the strategy? And I think that's where they're both having a problem. And the last time they had a televideo conference, it didn't end well. Well,
that ended badly. Now, U.S., let's say the president pulls everybody out. Now, what happens with the Taliban and President Karzai at that point?
Karzai is going to have to talk to the Taliban. He's going to have to negotiate because they need to be part, from their point of view, they need to be part of whatever government is in charge of Afghanistan. If not a totally Islamic state, they will have a major play in that government.
You know, we've seen what happened in Egypt with their president. Say the U.S. pulls out, things don't go so well. Will there be a coup there too?
I'm not sure. There could be. Certainly, we've seen it happen in Egypt. But at the same time we speak about Egypt, we also understand that now Morsi, who represented the Muslim Brotherhood at one time, now the Prime Minister is offering the Muslim Brotherhood a significant position in his government. So it's really unbelievable how the thing goes full circle, and we're right back where we started.
All right, so the U.S. decides to pull out in 2014, everyone. How do you sell that to the American people with so many lives lost, and did we get anywhere at that point?
You know, it's going to be a hard sell. You can always justify the presence of the United States being somewhere at the request of that government and at the request of the people. Well, once the government doesn't want you there anymore, you can't possibly justify even one American death. And so consequently, it's going to be a hard sell to determine why we were there to begin with, when we right back where we started.
What happens if you see increased bloodshed between now and the end of the year?
I think what you're going to see is an immediate pullout. I don't believe that you would see any kind of infusion of more troops. I think you'll see perhaps a deadline closer to within the next 6 months, saying any increase in bloodshed on behalf of the NATO or U.S. troops, and you got 90 days in rot here.
That's going to be a hard sell too for allies. Well, they want to stick around.
It
at that
is,
point
but
too.
at the same time, I don't think the allies would stick around too without the U.S. there.
Okay, you were talking about Egypt and the president. Supposedly, Morsi is in a safe place right now. What happens with the Muslim Brotherhood right now? They're doing a sit-in right now, and they're protesting this whole thing.
Well, they are, but they're keeping in mind the Muslim Brotherhood is on Morsi's side. At the same time, you have a significant number of those that don't want Morsi in office, and that's obviously the side that the military took. So you'll see a back and forth, and that's why I think you see the military regime, if you will, and certainly the Prime Minister reaching out to the Muslim Brotherhood saying, we want you to be part of this new Egypt.
All right, General Centracchio, as always, thank you for your thoughts, and thanks for watching.